So, when I sat down to do the research for this video and started crafting my deck list, I really thought that I was going to be playing a right and proper and true control deck, and then I saw Lumbering Megasloth, and, well, I knew what had to happen for the fans. Hello folks, Phil Gallagher, aka ThrabenU here for another Legacy video, and today we are playing with Up the Beanstalk. Now, Edison asked me to specifically play a deck with 4x Up the Beanstalk and 4x Submerge. Now, Submerge is free if your opponent controls a forest and you control an island, and you get to just put target creature on top of its owner's library. So this is just a free removal spell that can trigger Up the Beanstalk. And we are going to play a full playset of Yavimaya, Cradle of Growth, so that our opponents actually go and just always have forests. Now, as far as the islands go, we're usually going to have an island, and I say usually because this is also going to be a Marit Lage combo deck, with Dark Depths and Thespian Stage being a key part of this deck, and Lumbering Megasloth being another thing that plays well with Dark Depths. If you control a Yavimaya and a Dark Depths, this is a 2-mana 8/8 Trampler that triggers Up the Beanstalk. So this deck is a combo deck that has the ability to just kind of keep going. It's not necessarily going to be a one-shot, like one-and-done glass cannon sort of build. We can wiggle our butt into the chair and settle in for a slightly longer game. Although we do have some cards that are probably going to be best in the first couple of turns of the game. Stifling an initial fetch land from an opponent can sometimes take them off of their only mana source, and this can also be a way to defend your own combo, versus things like Caracas and Wasteland and Ghost Quarter, while incidentally doing some things to disrupt some combo decks as well. The base deck list here comes from an event in San Francisco, California, I believe, by TC. I have edited the sideboard a little bit. For playing online, I just think the reality of the format right now, unfortunately, is that if you're playing online, you need 4 Leyline of the Void in most decks, or you need to have a very, very good Oops All Spells matchup. We're not going to beat the dead horse there. Putting those in comes at the cost of 2 Blue Elemental Blast effects and 2 Veil of Summers, which were otherwise in the deck, and I switched a Collector Oof to a Null Rod. We do have a decent number of colorless sources in the deck, and so it is possible to have opening hands of like Thespian Stage, Wasteland, Sajiri Step, Island, Dark Depths, Bojuka Bog that don't actually go and produce mana for Collector Oof. So I think the consistency of Null Rod is worth it over the 2/2 body, but honestly, it's pretty close. We also have a very sweet and very situational counterspell here. That notably, since this is free if it costs a creature with power 7 or greater, our Sloth is fair game here. So folks, should you need some magic cards, check out toamagic.com. Dale's Adventure is an awesome store. I love them a lot. I really enjoyed working with them. I actually sell them my own cards, and I buy my cards from them. Promo code ThrabenU saves you 5% on your order. You always get free shipping, and they tend to have like 95% of standard legal stuff in stock at any given time. So check them out. With that being said, let's battle. Phil from the future here. I've got 2 recommended rounds for you. Round 1, my opponent's deck is super cool. And round 5, you're going to watch Up the Beanstalk Submerge pop off really hard. Enjoy the show. Now, unfortunately, this opening hand here doesn't do anything, despite having a reasonable mix of lands and spells. This has blue mana if you squint at it funny. I have Up the Beanstalk and Submerge. I can Lorien Revealed to get blue mana. This is a little awkward. So I go bam, cycle Lorien Revealed, get a blue source, play a blue source, have Stifle available for turn 2. Turn 3, I Wasteland and Submerge. I'm going to get rid of the crop rotation and settle in for a longer game. This is awkward, but I don't really know if it's correct to go to 5. But I have literal 0 games under my belt with this deck, so I don't actually know. Okay, opponent is getting in there early with aggro stuff, and the Wasteland is not super good here. On top of that, my opponent is going to be playing white removal. That is likely to be pretty good against what I'm doing. The Lumbering Megasloth makes me absolutely wish that we had kept the crop rotation. I think we just accept that and pass the turn here. We were trying to settle in for a longer game while my opponent is playing a hyper-aggressive strategy. We're likely to see things like Ajani as follow-ups here. So I'm taking 1, which is going to trigger this at end of turn to give my opponent some cats. Ooh, there's black mana. Yes, actual factual Bob. Hello, Bob. I like what opponent's cooking over there. We will go for an untapped land, and my opponent gets their cat. I mean, I think I wait a turn and play Up the Beanstalk first. Get a bonus card. That's a little bit of a weird one to draw. And I think we're just going to immediately Submerge Dark Confidant, draw a card, and not let my opponent get an activation of that. And then on my next turn, I can play the Megasloth, draw a card, and have Stifle available for something like a Solitude or Caracas trigger. And I also give myself another draw towards another reasonable 1-drop play. That is fine. Then the Ocelot Pride does the Ocelot Pride thing. Notably, my opponent is at 21. So let's go bam, bam, draw a card. Oops, all stifles. I'm going to get this land, I think. I'm just not going to let my opponent surveil here. I just have 3 of them, so using them at just about every opportunity seems fine. Bob trigger. Voice of Victory. Yo. Scissorman, I like what you got going on over here. Voice of Victory making Bob uncounterable. Delicious. Spy Master Vault. Sure. I'm going to take 5. Go to 12. Opponent's at 19. A giant monster of a creature does trample 3, 6, 7 permanents towards the city's blessing. Oh boy. Yeah, that's scary. The Ocelot Pride trigger. We are up to the city's blessing. My opponent gets the extra servo token. Holy hell. I'm just dead over the course of 2 turns, and I can't out-aggro my opponent. Yikes. I think I'm going to leave 2 different stifles available. So I'm going to go ahead and stifle that trigger. And the next thing I want to go after is probably the Ocelot Pride trigger. I do not conceptually like this matchup for me. I think my game plan is go fast here. Okay, so there's a Grave Crawler. That means there's probably ways to sacrifice it, like Carrion Feeder in the deck. Okay. Or the 3-mana Treasure Token Duder. It's just going to ship in with the ones they don't care about. That's reasonable. I probably just die next turn anyway. So I block 1 here, but it's kind of a Pyrrhic victory, because I still just end up taking 1 from that thing dying. So now there's no Ocelot Pride trigger. We will manually tick down Dark Depths. It's not going to matter, but I'm going to do it anyway. Okay, Brainstorm, you have a lot of fucking work to do, bud. I don't know what I'm looking for. It's not that. So I can make Dark Depths and play Elvish Reclaimer. I can block 3 of these, blocking 6 damage, and then still take lethal. Yeah, I'm still just taking 7 incoming damage before we start thinking about Marionette Apprentice triggers. Rats. Bonus deck is sweet, though. So I am interested in stopping white removal spells. I think I don't really get to hold up Stifle here. Brazen Borrower is a generically fine Magic the Gathering card. This is fine. Oh, bad mana. Holy moly. Mulligan. Deck. Deck, please. Have mercy. Sloth into Sloth, yes. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. This is exceptional. Things can get real weird if Wasteland happens. So let's just hope it doesn't. Fuck. I opted to protect my colored mana here. So we'll pass the turn. Dark Depths was the core of this hand. There's an Ocelot Pride. Let's find a Surveil land. Nope. We're looking for a Tutor or an Up the Beanstalk or something. I am one Surveil land. I am one Hedge Maze. That is no bueno. I'll go ahead and pass the turn here. Yeah, turn one for me was real bad. If I play out the Yavimaya and it gets wastelanded, I don't have green to cast the Megasloths or mana to activate this. And if I lead on Thespian stage, I don't turn to a Megasloth. I also don't think Thespian stage by itself is good enough to wasteland. That is a scrub land and pass. And then we'll just grab a trop here. Oh, I am a Brainstorm deck. I guess I should not have done that. My own wasteland. I'm not super into that, but it is happening. That's some Bowmasters. I'll wasteland you. And I'm going to be at 16. Taking 4 this combat and at least 5 the following combat. Opponent is just going wide of what I am doing so easily. Make their friend. I'll take 4. Putting me to 12. And then the Ocelot Pride trigger happens. That 9, 2, 4, 6, 8, 9 towards this now. Elvish Reclaimer is a great card. However, I think I'm just dead to this stuff. Like, I've got a 3/4 blocker. That's great. We're just a little too late. Opponent is also incidentally at 22 from the lifelink here, so don't have a one-shot kill on top of the other problems that I am currently having. City's Blessing is now active with that Marsh Flats. What you got? Oh, yeah. Static Prison. Sure. So that's the nod that Guide of Souls is in the deck, even if we haven't seen it already. Yeah, this is sweet. I am very dead. I'm going to concede here, but I'm going to ask my opponent for the deck list. This is awesome. Okay. My opponent was willing to talk to me, but their English isn't great, and I don't know whatever language they are speaking, so I'm going to go ahead and concede here, and I might try to reverse engineer this one. Their deck is awesome. Today's video is sponsored by Moxfield.com. If you want to see upcoming sets, if you want to understand commander brackets, or if you just want an awesome place to store all, and I mean all, of your deck lists, Moxfield is the place. You can organize all of your decks by folders, and you can even change the views. You like visual, they've got that. You like text, they've got that. Check out my Moxfield Pro Field if you want to see all, and I mean all, of the decks that I've been cooking up. Alrighty, opening hand has mana. Opening hand has a Brainstorm. Opening hand has a Tutor for Dark Depths. I think I just keep this one and kind of hope that this Stifle gets to do something relevant in the first turn cycle of the game. And then we try to set up for a combo turn. Okay. So my opponent is unlikely to be playing fetch lands that I just get maximum Stifle value off of. But the upside here... Oh, it's every non-basic land type, not every land type. Do I stop that from making mana? I don't think so. Kinda just want to wasteland it completely. That makes my future mana awkward. I think I'm going to wasteland the ability to make constructs next turn. The Sloth? Sloth is next turn. I think I'm going to Brainstorm now. Ooh, those are cards. Those are cards. I'm going to get rid of you and you and be prepared to stifle this. Which I guess just means I can do this now. Grab another trop. Do this. Stop my opponent from making the constructs that will be decent blockers for these. Mindstone is fine. Wasteland is slightly annoying. That sets me back a little bit. This is not the best. I think this is a the game has changed moment. I potentially just wasteland Planar Nexus, let Urza Saga disappear, and try to leave my opponent stranded on low resources. Yeah. I really want to play this turn, but it feels like I just get rid of Thespian stage. Green, crop rotation, sack stage. get my Singleton Wasteland, Wasteland Planar Nexus, and pass. And then we just assume that I can work towards Elvish Reclaimer doing something gross. We'll see if I undervalued Urza's Saga. Mox Diamond. So my opponent had more lands potentially and then just didn't play them out. Tabernacle is not looking quite like what I expected it to. Sure. Submerge. I will Elvish Reclaimer, and then we can work towards the Sloths. We're going to mid-range town, though. Yeah, this is not the artifact deck that I thought we were playing against. I think I will just play another Reclaimer and pass the turn here. So my opponent has a 3/3 now that will end up being a 5/5. I can submerge it in a minute. That's annoying. Ghost Quarter. Sure. My opponent is not attacking. I would like to submerge, but you don't have a forest right now. I think I am going to just pass here. My goal is double block one of these, submerge another. I mean, submerging both is ideal if I just draw Yavimaya. Tangle Wire. Okay. That's potentially annoying enough that I just need to Force of Will that. I think my opponent can turn both of their creatures sideways and then just Maze of Ith, the one that I block. I am going to attempt a double block here. And indeed, exactly that just happens. I will take 5. Oh my god, a Tabernacle was the follow-up play. I think I've got to keep them. Okay. So I will submerge one of those. Now, am I the beatdown? I can get in for 6 here and take 4 back. I think I'm just holding back so this can't attack me. I think I'm currently winning the long game. And I'm just going to F6 my opponent's turns here. This is probably going to be a slog of a match. We are... Hey, everybody's Yavimaya. The merges are good, confirmed. I think the long game is favorable to me unless my opponent has something like Life from the Loam that tilts the scales heavily in their favor. Like eventually I just draw a Dark Depths and deploy some Sloths, and it's very, very good for me. Oh, that's a lot of mana. Oh boy. That just turns Pithing Needle into a creature to have a bonus blocker. That is reasonable. I will pay for my creatures. I can send in at Karn pretty well. My opponent blocks. They do kill both, or they can just take out an Elvish Reclaimer for free. I think I'm gonna wait a turn. I'm very unsure because that lets Maze of Ith untap. So my opponent's Pithing Needle is now no longer a creature, so they don't have to pay for it with Tabernacle. Oh, they are not doing a... They're not paying for their Construct token. They are getting a Mycosynth Lattice and playing it. Oh, right. This is going to turn those into artifacts as well, meaning I can't pay for it because of Tabernacle. That happens either way if I attack Karn. Karn was at 6 loyalty. Yeah, so that happens either way. Fuck. Okay. Null Rods in. Force of Vigors in. Brazen Borrower in. Ojuka Bog out, I think. Life from the Loam could be a thing. I think I just kind of expect that this stuff is less relevant than this stuff. And then no Force of Will? Question mark? A bunch of the things I care about are actually lands? This is probably a 4x Maze of Ith deck, and I have a single Wasteland. I could not of this world. I could just, like, ignore Submerge for Urza Saga tokens and focus on killing my opponent with a 20/20 or a protected 8/8. That is an approach. We are in weird territory here. I would just like a keepable 7. I'm not even asking for a lot. I just want to be able to cast my spells. This is fine. I don't need Lorien revealed with this hand. We are not going turbo, though. Mox Diamond. Ancient Tomb. Mind Stone? Sphere. You've got it. This is symmetrical, so that will count my opponent's stuff too. I will go ahead and pass the turn. I have Stifle available, but I don't have Brazen Borrower Bounce available. There's a part of me that just wants to be a sicko and stifle that. I think I will. I think I will. Planar Nexus, sure. Crop Rotation or Wasteland is certainly not bad. Let's get rid of the basic forest. Grab the Wasteland. Wasteland, the Ancient Tomb, I think. Bash 1. So we're going to try to keep my opponent's resources tapped down. And I can Brazen Borrower Mox Diamond. Orion Revealed is not what I am looking for. Are we just going the 2020 route now? I think I'm just going to go the 2020 route. I can still kind of Brazen Borrower Mox Diamond if I want. Brazen Borrowing Mox Diamond is kind of funny because of the Sphere of Resistance. More Ancient Tomb. We are now going to turn this into Dark Depths. And this alone is enough mana to do what I want. But I will still Island Cycle this to get my blue mana back. Picking up a Trop. I guess Island is the same thing in the short term. I would have drawn one anyway. Okay. So this is a 3/3. My 3/4 can attack on in. Opponent's at 14. I'll pass the turn. They'll make an Urza Saga token. And I think I'm just going to do this now while my opponent's low on resources. All right, there's a 2020. So Expedition Map for a Pithing Needle doesn't do it. My opponent can get Expedition Map, search with Expedition Map, find something like a Maze of Ith, and then I'll need to find an answer to that. So Construct. Oh, it's a Pithing Needle. You already have a Maze in hand? You do. That's not great for me. What does my tutor package look like here? The single Wasteland means that I can't just get rid of that. I'll want to find a Stifle. If I bounce one of these with Brazen Borrower, this is a 4-power creature. I don't need to attack right now. Tangle Wire. Okay. I can bounce that out of play. I think I just let that happen, and I start working on construct tokens. So I just tap down most of my stuff here. That's okay. Not doing a lot in the short term. I am going to go ahead and attack here. The mana differential could matter for a card like Crop Rotation. So in case you haven't played against Tanglewire before, you stack the triggers so the fading happens first, so you end up tapping fewer permanents than your opponent, and you can also tap the Tanglewire itself. We have an opposing Yavimaya, and that's a Karn. Getting an Ensnaring Bridge. Okay. Do I want to play Null Rod? The Null Rod is only denying Mox Diamond as of right now. I can play it and preemptively be better against Liquimetal Coating, which could eat me alive. I might want to play this. It's just weird. We'll tap those down. Well, I can have a backup friend. We're going to play this. And things might get really, really weird. So if my opponent were to play a Mycosynth Lattice and turn everything into artifacts, everything gets shut off. I would deck first. But I have more creatures in play, and Maze of Ith would get shut off. Null Rod also takes pressure off of me for Tanglewire. As far as Ensnaring Bridge goes, since there's multiple Yavamayas in play, it's unlikely that I strand cards in my opponent's hand because they can't pay life for Ancient Tomb purposes. We're getting the tutoring. So they're getting the coding, which I've preemptively shut off with Null Rod. Ancient Tomb damage, another Tanglewire. Okay, they're going to hit me for 6. Sure. 14. I think I'm going to tap down everything except Marit Lage. That's not what I want to see as a draw. Attack face, force the Maze of Ith activation, then drop Misty so I can pick up Hedge Maze. So there's where we're at after my opponent taps down all of their various artifacts, which don't do anything anyway because of Null Rod. I'm just going to turn this into a creature. Oh, they're going to be very aggressive here. and then maze one of these. This means that I just win if I hit a stifle, because now my opponent doesn't have 2 mazes available, they only have 1. I'm super thankful for this interaction here. Taking more damage, ensnaring bridge. Alright, now we have some other problems, but these cease to be problems. I have things like Force of Vigor, Edge Maze, a Brazen Borrower that lets me kill... That does not let me kill Karn. This can attack, but Maze stops it from there. This is a long-term answer to Ensnaring Bridge. I think I have to keep this. I'm tapping down 4 things. So we'll go bam, then bam, bam, bam. If I play Yavimaya, I can do this petty theft, but I don't think I am into that yet. Down to 4. There's now a Lodestone Golem in play. And then Karn just pluses on nothing. Got it. Okay. Megasloth is fine and good. That's 2 mana. This can attack, but can't attack profitably. I think I am just passing the turn there. Alright, Tanglewire number 1 is fully gone. There's a Wasteland. Karn tutors. Getting another Lodestone Golem, which costs 5 mana. Spells are expensive. I'll tap a Null Rod. Submerge. I can submerge a token and then actually attack with an Elvish Reclaimer. That doesn't get me anywhere, though. I think I'm just passing the turn. So what I would like to work towards is actually just casting a couple Brazen Borrowers and just getting through in the air. There's a Planar Nexus. If I had mana to copy a blue source with Thespian Stage, I should have done that last turn. Oh, I actually don't have enough mana to cast that. Can I Brazen Borrower something out of play? Brazen Borrower, Ensnaring Bridge have 3 different bodies? No. Let's just submerge a token for the future then. Alright, so Tanglewire, out of counters, Lorien Revealed. That costs a lot of mana. Costs 8, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. No, we will just cycle that. Pick up Island, grab Island, pass turn. Alright, Tanglewire is gone. Yeah, okay. That is non-artifact spell, so it's not like I can just bounce the bridge. Okay, sure. I'm going to start working towards this. Up the Beanstalk. 2, 4, 6. I think this is where I use my bonus Yavimaya mana. I'm going to cast that and leave Wasteland open. Crop Rotation is cool. I don't need to do this yet. I'm going to start F6ing my opponent's turns. There's a lot of thinking to do here, and I think I just need to leave myself with time. So there is a tower. There's an expedition map. I think my opponent floated too much mana. That can't be used. Alright, so there is a Mycosynth Lattice. So now no lands tap for mana at all. So we'll see where my opponent is going with this. I need them to get not Tabernacle, basically. So we're just going to pass back and forth. This can now attack. This is unfortunately an 8/8. I don't know what the fuck happened there. Not even tell what that is. Planar Nexus, sure. So I guess they never go to 8 where I can attack them with 2 of these at once. I think I'm dead. I have fewer cards in my library than my opponent. Yeah, I think I'm dead. GG's. Okay. This is very awkward. I can cycle Lorien Revealed and then brainstorm and try to find a sloth or a stage. This is very awkward. I should probably keep hands that look like this, but boy, this is awkward. So Yavimaya, pass the turn. We've got Volk and Ponder. This could be a Delver deck. This could be a Sneak and Show deck. We've got options here. I will be able to brainstorm next turn to select a little bit. Let's go get... It's probably supposed to be a Trop. So we are just going to play this and pass the turn so that I have Stifle available. If my opponent is doing creature-based stuff, Submerge is free. They control a forest, I control an island. Yeah, that's fine. I get to stifle the shit out of that. I think I submerge my opponent's creature first. Oop. That way, if they counter this Stifle in a second, it is not going to give a Surveil trigger. Nice, everything just worked. Crop rotation is real cool. I just turn Tropical Island into Thespian stage, and then go off immediately. If it works, I probably win. Yeah. My opponent had 2 Force of Will targets previously and did not bite on either of them. That's unfortunate for us, because now I have 2 Brainstorms that I can't do anything with, and I might just kind of flounder around and die. We are not getting clocked yet. That's the good news. We found blue mana. I am going to go ahead and main phase Brainstorm here then. Drop? I think drop. Sometimes I get things like Elvish Reclaimer that I can just play on my turn. Hey, it's Elvish Reclaimer. Put back a Dark Depths that I don't need, and a Lorien Revealed. Drop Elvish Reclaimer, and then I will cycle Lorien Revealed in a minute to shuffle this stuff that I don't want. Unfortunately, I have 2 lands in graveyard, so this is lightning boltable right now. One says no to Force of Will. Yeah, that's one of the things that I did not want to see. Or a Steel Cutter going to graveyard. This is attacking for 3. So I am going to get respectably clocked, but I'm hoping that I end up just doing something scarier than what my opponent is doing here. Let's do a Hedge Maze. Well, Dark Depths came back. I don't super want it. Hey, there's Thespian stage. I do super want that. I just play Thespian stage and make my thing, probably in my opponent's upkeep. I probably don't want Wasteland in this matchup. Let's go bam, 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 pass turn. Do this in upkeep. I don't want to give my opponent a chance to play out a Wasteland. Alright. Copy Dark Depths, please. Keep the one with no ice counters. Do you have the Brazen Borrower? Bobble is not Brazen Borrower. DRC notably does have to attack each combat, so it is attacking into my 2020 Indestructible Flyer. Yeah, there we go. Got him. Alright, so they're going to see if this card is an answer. It was not. For once, they did not have the Brazen Borrower. So, Wasteland we care about. Brazen Borrower we care about. Maybe something like a Stifle effect we care about. If I want to fight on the stack, this is the stuff that I use to do that. Stifles for Wasteland is fine. Submerge for creatures is fine. It's very good against Murktide. It's less impressive versus things like Kori, Steel Cutter, and DRC. An 8/8 is enough to win. I think I'm never messing with these green things. I think I'm never messing with Stifle. I think despite the fact that this is a blue matchup, and crop rotation is in theory pretty bad versus counter spells, I might still just need this. It is protection versus Brazen Borrower. I am not the best Force of Will deck here. My blue count is pretty low, and my opponent could Red Blast as well. I don't know if they will. So I think I might be looking at something like this, or maybe cut a Brainstorm. I think it's something like this. This is a hand that has so many good draws that I think I just keep it. Like Yavimaya to turn on Submerge is great. The combo pieces are fine, especially Dark Depths. If I lose, it's probably to turn 1 DRC. Tamiyo is annoying. Okay, Yavimaya is fantastic. We're just going to play a basic land and pass the turn. Probably end up just cycling Lorien Revealed here for a tropical island. Maybe a Hedge Maze. I take 0 from the attack, obviously. Let's island cycle this. Pick up the Hedge Maze. We'll leave the Trop in there to fetch. There's a Brainstorm. I think we're gonna just throw down the beans here. This is probably a very awkward card for my opponent. They are going to just daze. That is acceptable. I'll pass the turn here. I'm just gonna draw a card. I think I'm just going to tempo this Tamiyo here. My opponent can put it right back in their hand, and I'm fine with that. But I'm just going to prevent them from getting that clue immediately. And they can redeploy their land and play Tamiyo or whatever. And DRC. Good turn for them. Dark Depths is awesome for me. I baited out Daze last turn. So, we Sloth. Sloth has resolved. I will consider brainstorming at my opponent's end of turn. I have enough land here that if I don't get wastelanded, though, I might just want to untap. Petty Theft the Sloth. I could find a Not of This World and just counter that, and that would be pretty reasonable to do. Oh, I did just find Thespian Stage, though. That's pretty sweet, too. Let's put back Hedge Maze, fetch land, and then this jumps back to my hand. There is a Wasteland. My opponent can take out my Dark Depths. I will just get another one. This is fine. I want to do this in upkeep. Did I catch that in time? I did not catch that in time. Actually, no, I want to have floating mana here. So let's crop rotation, getting rid of this island. It's a great force of will moment. Yeah. Now I will fetch and hedge maze for my turn. Oof. Yes. I'm unsure from my opponent's side whether or not it is correct to do that. I guess I did just use a crop rotation very aggressively, so it's unlikely that I have another. But I have some very scary land-based things that I can do. Submerge being turned on might be a thing that puts it over the edge. Sure. Let's brainstorm and try to fix all this. Play my land first to play around Daze. So we just transition into 2/3/3 beatdowns .plan. That's fine. I already have something that's good if I draw Dark Depths. Fetch. Keep getting drops. And play Elvish Reclaimer. This notably is not big yet. And I'll draw another card end of turn. And then keeps accruing clues. I have transitioned into the beatdown unless my opponent plays a creature this turn. I can also nuke their graveyard if they don't Murktide. Damn it. Well, I think I'm doing fine here. I think I get Dark Depths, and then I have my choice of Dark Depths Thespian Stage or Dark Depths Sloth. I think it probably ends up being the Dark Depths. So I'd like to not see Wasteland this turn. And my opponent has used a Brazen Borrower already. That's good for me. Lightning Bolt face. Probably purely to just surveil one here. Then there's a fetch. Okay. That's now a 3/3. So I could nuke my opponent's graveyard to block here and kill the DRC. I would take similar amounts of damage. I think I just take it. I'm at 5. Sack the Hedge Maze. Get the Dark Depths. Oh shit. Yep, that'll do. Ugh. That's a shame. Sideboard plan feels about reasonable. I could like make some swaps of Submerges for Force of Wills or something like that. Again, I'm not really sure how much I want to try to fight on the stack with a card that is a 2-for-1. That's not in my favor. I think my opponent's more efficient counter spells are going to put them ahead. This doesn't do anything. Deck. Edge Maze and Brainstorm have a lot of heavy lifting to do here. The good news is, if I do a thing, it is likely to work. I'm gonna lazily do this here. Edge Maze, Crop Rotation. Don't really have anything else to bait counter spells here. I think I'm just gonna get rid of that. It's like a fine card to turn my Dark Depths into a Yavimaya if it works, but I don't think I'm into that. That's a weird one. Alright, Brainstorm. Oh no. That's bad. So that I have mana for next turn, I need to Bojuka Bog, but boy howdy, do I have problems over here. So Tamiyo is going to accrue some clue tokens and transform. I don't have a Stifle available to stop that. The good news here is that I'm not getting Wastelanded this turn, which means that I can cast Beans as a distraction, which I think I am ultimately pretty happy with. We just need to hit another green mana, and then we can start casting Lumbering Megasloth and hopefully protecting it via Not of This World. Daze is fine. This does not tap for mana right now. So we have a couple of turns, but it's not a lot of time. We can potentially stifle the ultimate, though. Like, that can be the way that we get an extra turn versus this. Bulk and a Quarry Steelcutter, triggering it. That allows my opponent to get in here. And if they use their turn just kind of flipping through various cantrips, Quarry Steelcutter can kind of pop off and be the only win condition that they need to cast. I'm at 17. You get your redraw. I'm not going to stifle that or anything, because I know that I want to cast the beans. Okay. Sajiri is weird. I'm probably just playing that tapped for future mana potential. But we drew both of our non-blue/green ETB tapped lands. It is not what we wanted when I already had multiple Dark Depths. So next turn I can stifle that Tamiyo trigger, and then the monks are going to start to pop off. There's a fetch land, so see how many spells my opponent fires off now. Oh, it is another Quarry Steelcutter. That is a little scary in multiples. So I am taking 5 this turn. I'm at 12. And the second Quarry Steelcutter hasn't even gotten involved yet. Stifle is not what I want. It's what I'm getting, and it will hopefully save my ass from this Tamiyo in the short term. I'm just going to die next turn to these monks, I think. Yep. I suppose it's possible to just die to combat damage this turn, because spell 2 is going to trigger both Quarry Steelcutters to generate another monk, both of which will have haste. Yeah. So when the stack clears, this is 3, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 damage. I am dead to one more spell. I need my opponent to not have a spell, and then I need them to ultimate Tamiyo, and I stifle that. So I can like stifle a prowess trigger or something here, but I am dead. My hand did not end up going anywhere. We had some pretty good outs, but didn't happen. Okay, I think I am willing to keep this hand here. We've got an Elvish Reclaimer that we can play out in the early game. Okay. That is not something that I want to see on turn 1 immediately. I think I do Basic Forest here. Maybe this needs to be Trop so I have some flexibility. I could see it going either way. I don't know if we are playing against like Death and Taxes or Initiative, or this is just some blue deck that is led on Caracas. That is acceptable, but annoying. Blue deck. Forest and Scythecat Cub. Sure. Play Dark Depths next turn, crop rotation for Yavimaya, make thing. I'll need Stifle for this. I could preemptively Crop Rot, take my opponent off of Caracas. There's a good chance this is just a green-white deck and not actually a blue deck. I already have my various combo pieces. Yeah. Crop Rot. Wasteland. Waste this. Play Trop. I'll pass turn here. Yeah, that's fine. Okay, my opponent is a blue deck. I mean, what am I going to do? Not Submerge? Then we will just cycle this. This is a fine turn for Hedge Maze, I think. Force of Will is a little weird. I mean, sure. And now I would prefer not to use Force of Will in this turn because it draws me a card next turn. Yeah, that's fine. You can make your land drop. And then I will go Stage, Beans, draw. Hey. That's not bad. Although I probably pitch Force of Will to Force of Will. I don't have all that many blue cards in the grand scheme of things. Nadu? Land drop's fine. Yeah, Nadu. Force of Will. Trigger Beans. Well, I found a new blue card. I could have gotten away with it. I will take 4. I am at 15. Dark Depths pass? Nadu can resolve. That is a chump blocker if things go my way. Sure. Flagon. Okay. Then my opponent can fetch and double the number of counters here, which is, in theory, fine. Yep. Oh, this is annoying. Oh, there's even more colors in here. I think this is awful, but is happening. Opponent can fetch, and then continue this stuff. We still haven't seen them hit something like a Swords to Plowshares. That is a real problem for me. Oh, hey, it's a Leyline Binding. That's a real problem for me. Great. Yep. So now, if I make my 2020, my opponent Leyline Bindings it, and I don't have Stifle available, I need one more mana. I'm just going to die to Fair Beatdown. There's no reason why they should let it go to my turn before casting a Leyline Binding. I'm going to take this and then make my thing at end of turn and hope that they don't make it. I think I am just dead to fair value here. I just need one more mana here, and I don't think I have the time to get it. Yep, dead. So the top couple of cards can provide some degree of protection. I would have drawn an extra land, so I could have done it and then been able to force a will afterwards, but I think I just lose to this stuff immediately from 8 life in combat on my opponent's turn very easily. So based on what I saw there, I want Not of This World. Holding up the mana is tough. My opponent has a whole bunch of triggers. I don't really know that Stifle is good, though. This Brazen Borrower's not crazy either, but I don't think I really want to interact with my opponent's stuff. I think I just want to kill them. I could also have gone down on some of the Bojuka Bog type stuff. I cannot get a decent 7-card hand to save my life. Wow. This also sucks. I have 2 pieces of protection for these 0 combo pieces that I have, and my opponent's deck is fast enough that I don't know that I can keep something that just has no plan at all. I'm gonna mulligan. I think I have been too safe on mulligans this league. This feels terrible. I guess on 5 we're keeping. I get rid of 1 Brainstorm and 1 Sloth, and we try to make something work. The mana here is terribly awkward. I can use Lorien Reveal to get colored mana, but then I can't Brainstorm fetch next turn. I think I'm just going to start out on a Hedge Maze for value. This deck's mana is tripping all over itself, and I am not a fan. Basic Plains. Hedge Maze. Crop Rotation. Now I don't have ways to defend it. I could try to use this to get Dark Depths. I can't funnel that into Sloth immediately. Add versus potential counterspells as well. I think I'm just going to say no to that. Bog's not great. Let's Brainstorm. Okay, this is fine. Bog goes back. A Depths goes back. God, my mana is so fucking bad. So I can get green and shuffle here, but then I can't deploy a Sloth next turn. Yeah, sure. Cycle. Wasteland does not do anything here. So we're going to do this and pass, and the plan is to start shoving Megasloths. You can make an argument that I should play Dark Depths immediately. Sure. Another Cub. I'm just going to turn Trop into a land that makes green. Anyway, you can make an argument that I should play Dark Depths on my previous turn in case I draw exactly Yavimaya. Depths. Sloth 1. Notably, it does enter tapped, which is very relevant against a pair of Scythecat Cubs. There's a Brainstorm. I could take a lot of damage this turn. So a fetch land could put 2 +1/+1 counters on a Scythecat Cub, and then a second fetch land could double those counters twice. Okay. Yeah, so I'm taking 7 damage immediately. And I potentially just die through a Megasloth next turn. I could play 2 Megasloths here. I think it's probably better to just play Wasteland and attempt to kill my opponent next turn. The Megasloths enter tapped, which is a really big deal right now. I don't think I am going to Wasteland immediately because Karakas exists. Ponder is fine. I have Sajiri for a white removal spell. But now I, in theory, don't need to worry about Karakas unless Nadu also gets involved. Alright, we are chilling. Then it is Dark Depths time. Leaving up crop rotation for Sajiri. What do you have? I will go ahead and let my opponent target. And then I will crop rotation, getting rid of the Wasteland. And they need to have a counter spell, or Sajiri gets them. Okay, cool. Oh, that was terrifying. This just goes harder than my sloths. Do beans even make sense? Maybe I just need to not die to fucking cats. Maybe beans don't make sense. My Flusterstorm beans numbers there are certainly wrong. One of those is better than the other. My land don't cast my fucking spells, and I am losing my goddamn mind. Mulligan. Sure. I need to control an island to do Submerge, which I am not going to do on turn 1. I think I made a mistake with the card I put back. I think it should have been the second Yavimaya. Yep. I just did that too quickly. Not of this world. I will drop Elvish Reclaimer. Rest in peace. I mean, I guess it has text. Island cycle. Get an island. Do this. Am I submerging the Delighted Halfling 2 turns in a row? That doesn't feel great. I think it's what I'm doing, though. So the first turn allows me to tutor up half of a combo and get use out of the Yavimaya. Beans. Okay. Okay. Draw. Interesting. Submerge Delighted Halfling again. Submerging will continue until morale improves. In case I draw Brainstorm, I'm just going to do this. Send in for 1. Now, if we could start casting Not of This Worlds, that would be cool. Let's set a stop in upkeep and surveil for my turn with Hedge Maze. I think that's how I want to play this instead. Wasteland. Yes. So let's Wasteland that Savannah. My opponent has no true colored mana. And I will just string together Dark Depths combo over 2 turns. Alright, there's some true mana. Maybe the second Yavimaya did work out. So that means that my opponent does not have green anymore there. Pick up Dark Depths first. That matters for Sloth sometimes. I think we are just going to do this now. And not keep this around for my opponent's benefit. But now I can still rotate something else if I need to for some reason. I, in theory, just have double Not of This World backing this up. I've used my 1 Wasteland. But we're chilling. I'm going to do this and pass the turn. Got something at the end of turn. No, we don't. There is a Nadu. That is resolving. That is a chump blocker. Thespian stage. Target Dark Depths. 1 and 2. Keep the 1 with no ice counters. Draw. More Yavimaya. Go to Punchies. Send them. Oh, I had Sajiri. That was dumb. I'm probably winning anyway, but that was dumb. That was deterministic. Okay, cool. Go to Punchies. Send it. There is an Endurance. Which graveyard would you like to nuke? I'll let you pick. I will Petty Theft that Endurance back to your hand, and that'll do. Okay, it took us 4 rounds, but we did put a match win on the board. Alright, I wish we had won the die roll here. I think it's a very big deal with this hand. But hopefully this is fine. Bayou. It's been a little while, so whenever a land you control enters 1 damage to target opponent, I'm going to say that that's fine. That's way better than us. Way better for us than something like a turn 1 Thoughtseize. Oh, buddy. Oh, buddy. Let's get rid of this stop. I probably don't need that anymore. So this little lizard assassin dinks me for 1. I'm at 19. Wasteland is a thing. So now I'm just going to get both of my basics, which is fine. So, fetch. Island. Fetch. Forest. And beans. I really wish that had happened after I would get to draw a card off of this. But we're just going to say no to that. That's too much chip damage. Submerge. That's going to draw a card. I don't think I use it immediately. I think my opponent is going to have better targets. Plus, sometimes I can wait one more turn, play another Up the Beanstalk, and then draw 2 off of Submerge. Is hot. Oh, that's cute. So you return it for landfall purposes. Maybe now I submerge this. Nah. I think I'm fine taking a little damage and using my life total as a resource. Yeah, this is fine. Another one. You got it. So, We Will Beans. Lorien Revealed. Bouncing these out of play is a little awkward. I probably counter the next one on the way down. Let's just Submerge, draw 2. Megasloth. And slightly awkward since I am doing basics to play around Wasteland. Okay, now that's slightly less awkward. So let's play a stage, then pass. Wish I could cast this crop rotation. But we are just going to Force of Will that because I am drawing so many cards with it. Beans. Nice. Double nice. I guess with one of those triggers still on the stack, I could have submerged this other one to potentially save some life off landfall. Aquarian Ranger more annoying than this? Nah. Beans! Oh, we found more beans. So I'll take 1. I notably didn't get more blue cards here. Okay. I'm kind of hoping that my opponent taps both of these. Yeah. So, beans! Oh, we have more beans. Real talk, though. We're just going to make a 2020 while this Wasteland is tapped. Oop. Opponent, I love what your deck is doing over there. That's so cool. Like, that's absolutely disgusting synergy, but Beans did Beans things. Edison, that right there, that's what you wanted. There is your Submerge control doing the Submerge control things. Probably don't change my deck much here. My opponent has Wastelands to interact with my stuff, but probably not removal that gets it once the 2020 is in play. I'm probably swapping out 2 blue cards here. Maybe 2 Lorien Revealed or 2 Brainstorm. Just have a catch-all for whatever weird permanence my opponent has and the ability to doink a Scythecat Cub out of play. I don't know, maybe my deck's perfect. Like, if I get Beans down, I would rather have this stuff than these. Donde está lands? Not here. Okay. The 5-card hand has some reasonable stuff to work towards. The Stifle is always going. And then I think I get rid of the Beans, despite the fact that they were amazing last game. I think this game usually goes Green Source, Dark Depths, Sloth. That's the distraction. And then the Thespian stage the following turn is the finisher. Even Hedge Maze on turn 1. Oh, Elvish Reclaimer. That's super cool. Yeah. What does my opponent's deck do against like a Chalice of the Void? Seems like they have a lot of 1-drops. I wonder if they have both Bristly Bill and Scythecat Cub. Right. Land pass. So depending on what happens this turn, I might end up just crop rotating for Yavimaya. And then I play a Sloth immediately. Ooh, neat. Yeah. I think this is immediate Sloth. I can Hedge Maze too though, right? So Hedge Maze, Surveil, Hedge Maze mana is crop rotation for Yavimaya, and then Yavimaya and Dark Depths is 2 mana. Yeah, I can Hedge Maze still. Do not want Island. Oh, that's weird. I still need to tutor for a Yavimaya if I want to play a Sloth this turn. A little weird. Yavimaya, Dark Depths, Sloth. I don't know how robust my opponent's Elvish Reclaimage package is going to be. Like, does my opponent actually have a Caracas? It's a really big deal if they do. I guess the Urza Saga package also could be relevant for going above 20 life. Alright, there's Construct Token. There's a Gaia's Cradle deck. Oh, that's so many Hierarchs. Holy shit. That's 3 Exalted triggers. You've got it. Okay, so this is not active. That's a boon for me. Let's bash in with the Sloth. I want to not make something like a Shadow Spear put my opponent to a life total where they live. And I think I just do this now to play around Wasteland 2020. So, what do you got? Expedition map for Caracas could do it. Construct. It's boots. Uh-huh. This isn't lethal. Talon gates. You can phase out my token. And it comes back. I'm going to take 7 here. You have multiple Talon gates. I guess that's what beats me. Land. Beans. Elvish Reclaimer. That's not doing me any good right now. So if my opponent has another Talon gates, they can phase this out. And I could die to an all-out attack if I attack with the Sloth. So I think I leave the Sloth back. Alright, there's the Reclaimer activation. Yeah, it is another Talon Gates. Alright, so I played around that. It is possible that my opponent could string together something that kills me this turn. They would need to go wide. So I'm always blocking probably 3 to 4 damage off a construct. My opponent would need to add about another 4 power to the board. Ooh, what can that do with haste? Hierarch? Misty? Okay. Surveilling. Opponent did not give this haste. That seems like a really big deal here. So I block a 4 power creature. This is the difference between me being alive and dead. So unless I am missing something, I attack and my opponent loses. Yeah, they missed moving the Shadow Spear, and then they could also activate White of the Reliquary to do something else. We'll take it. Alrighty. Overall thoughts on the deck list. Too greedy. Too greedy. I don't think you get to play a multicolor Dark Depths deck that is trying to do a bunch of cute things while also having situational flex slots. So since you need both blue and green mana early, every time you naturally draw one of these, it's backbreaking. And the deck doesn't actually play that many lands for a depths deck. Like, this is 24 lands because your Lorien Revealeds are also kind of partial lands as well. So it's not just like, hey, these aren't really counting towards your mana, they're more like spells. That's not really the case here. So say you want to be playing Elvish Reclaimer on turn 1, there's a ton of lands that are just not going to make that happen. And since you are this multicolor deck, sometimes even an Up the Beanstalk on 2 is not guaranteed if you keep something like Island Thespian Stage Lorien Revealed. Or that's a bad example. But sometimes you can generate hands where you need to cycle Lorien Revealed and then you don't do the thing that you want to do on curve. This came up more with Lumbering Megasloth, where you are trying to have green plus Dark Depths. And if you have to take a turn off to fix one of those things, sometimes you fall pretty far behind. There's this weird tension between trying to be good in the early game with things like Stifle to tackle opposing lands and trying to be good in the late game because of Beanstalk. I kind of wish we had leaned further into Beanstalk being good. The Stifles are great at defending against Wasteland and Caracas and stuff, but maybe you just let those go and just be able to better play a late game. Like, does this deck get better if you play more cantrips and throw Murktide Regent into it, for example? Maybe it does. The Submerge Up the Beanstalk thing is definitely cute. I think there are just easier ways to play Beanstalk decks, be that Leyline Binding or Rock Sasha's Bargain. There's a lot going on that is easier to do. This deck was a little infuriating to play in terms of not being able to cast spells sometimes, but when it works, it is pretty cool. So we are going to give it the like shaky sideways thumb of, I like what's going on here, and this top-aided a 75-ish person legacy event, so there's something to it, but I think this is working a little bit too hard. Sideboard was reasonable. If I ran this back again, I might just play 4 Endurance instead of Leyline of the Void. Just have more fair things that I can play versus decks like Delver. Maybe this deck could also just be a Scythecat Cub deck. That card was looking hot today on the other side of the table. Like, you have a whole bunch of lands in your deck anyway, why not use them to grow a cat that can be a distraction? I think that's about all I have for today, folks. I hope you enjoyed. If you did, consider throwing me a like or a comment on the way out. I hope you have a wonderful rest of the day. See ya!